Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. In this tutorial series, we are creating this HTML entities converter using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So basically when you have any of these symbols like less than, greater than, ampersand and so on, and if I click on convert, we can see that all those symbols are converted into these HTML entities over here. Now in the previous video, I showed you how to design this using HTML and CSS, and this is how it looks right now. Now in this video, I'll show you how to add the JavaScript to make this conversion work. So let's get started. Right, here's the source code, and here we have already linked our main.js file. So let's start writing the JavaScript. Now we need to reference some of these elements from the HTML into our JavaScript for the code to work. So we need to reference the text area because we need to get the input from this text area and we need to process it. And then we need to reference this convert button because when we click on the convert button, the conversion should happen. And then we need to reference this result division over here. So let's reference all of these three elements into our main.js file. So let's type const input text equals document.querySelector, and it's inside a division with the class of HTML entities converter. So let's type .html entities converter, and that we have this text area with a class of input text. So let's type .input text, and now let's reference the convert button. So let's type const convert btn equals document.querySelector HTML entities converter convert btn, and then we need to reference the result division. So let's type const result equals document.querySelector HTML entities converter result. Right now we need to add an event listener to this convert button, and we need to convert all the code that we have inside this text area to HTML entities. So let's type convert btn.add event listener, and let's listen for the click event, and let's create an arrow function over here. And the first thing we will do is we will store the text inside this input text element into a variable. So let's create a variable called input, and let's set it equal to input text dot value. So this will store the value of this input text, which is this text area inside this input variable. And now we will call a function called convert entities, and we're going to create this function in a minute. And we're going to pass this input as an argument. So let's type input over here, and we'll also return the output from this function. So I'll just store it inside a variable. Let's name it result text. And the last thing we need to do is we need to display this result text inside this result division. So for that, let's type result dot inner text equals result text. Right now, let's create this function called convert entities. So let's type const convert entities, and we're gonna get the input over here. So I'll just call it str for string, and you can name this anything you want. Right now, let's return the output. So let's type return, and here we need to type str, which we get from here, and we will use the replace function. So let's type replace, and in the replace function here we can see there is a search value and also a replace value. So for the search value, we will add a regular expression. So the first thing we need to do is add forward slashes, and in that we need to add square brackets. And here we have to provide all the special characters we want to have for the HTML entities conversion. So let's type less than, greater than, ampersand, double quotes, and you can add more special characters if you want. I'll just leave it at these 4. So we have less than, greater than, ampersand and double quotes. So this is basically a regular expression. And here I will also add a G flag to match for all the occurrences in this string. Right now, for the next argument, let's create a function, and we will return something from this function. So let's create this function over here, and here in this function we get the replaced value. So I'll just call it C for character, and here I'll just type return, and we need to return the HTML entity of these symbols. So for that, I'll just create an object over here. So let's name it characters, And let's create an object, and in that we will have all these symbols. So let's type less than, and we will have them in key value pairs. So for the less than, let's type ampersand LT semicolon. So this is the HTML entity for less than. And the next one is greater than. So here let's type ampersand GT semicolon. And then we have ampersand. And for this we need to have ampersand AMP semicolon. And then lastly we have double quotes. So I'll just add it inside single quotes. And here let's type ampersand quote semicolon. So these are basically the characters, and we're going to replace these special characters with these values over here. So here we need to return characters, which is this object, and here we need to type square brackets and the replaced text, which is C. So what this will do is it will search for these symbols in our text, and if it has any of these symbols, then it will pass this symbol to this function, and we'll get that over here, and we will look for this symbol inside this object over here, and then we will just return this value from this function. So this is how it works. Right now let's see whether it works. So let's go back to our design, and let's just type less than, and let's click on convert, and here we can see it says ampersand LT semicolon. Let's type greater than, and we can see that everything is working all right. So I'll just go ahead and copy this code from here, and I'll just paste it over here. And now let's click on convert, and now here we can see it has converted all of these symbols into these HTML entities. So everything is working all right. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to make this copy button work. So here we can see when we click on copy, we have this notification, and the text is copied to the clipboard. So if I paste it over here, we can see that the text was copied. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go back to our HTML, and here we can see for the copy code button, we have this division with the class of copy code button, and we also have to display the notification. So here we can see we have this division with the class of notification. So we have to reference these two elements, notification and copy code btn. So here let's type const copy code btn equals document.querySelector HTML entities converter copy code btn, and const notification equals document.querySelector HTML entities converter notification. Right now let's scroll down, and let's add an event listener for the copy code btn. So let's type copy code btn dot add event listener, and we need to listen for the click event, and let's create an arrow function over here. Now the first thing we will do is we will store the data that we need to copy inside a variable. So let's create a variable called toCopy, and I'll just set it equal to result dot inner text. So this will store the value of this division right here inside this variable toCopy, and then you have to type navigator dot clipboard dot write text, and then here you have to pass this variable toCopy. Now this will return a promise, so let's type then, and here let's create an arrow function, and once you have copied it, we can show the notification. So I'll just create a function to show the notification. I'll just type display notification. Right now let's create this display notification function. So I'll just type const display notification. Now here the first thing we need to do is we need to add the active class to the notification. So if we go back to the style.css file, here we can see we have styled this in such a way that if we have the active class, the notification will be displayed, and if you don't have the active class, it will be hidden. So let's go back and let's type notification dot class list dot add, and we will add the active class. And then we also need to hide the notification, so we need to remove the active class after some time. So I'll just type set timeout, And for the timeout, I'll just type 3000, which is 3 seconds. So the notification will be hidden after 3 seconds. And here we need to just type notification dot class list dot remove active. Right now, let's go back to our design and let's see whether everything works all right. So I'll just copy this from here and paste it over here. And let's click on convert. And now we can see that it is converted. And now let's go ahead and click on this copy button. And here we can see that the notification is being displayed. Right now, let's go ahead and paste it over here and let's see whether it was actually copied. So I'll just right click over here and click on paste. And here we can see that it was indeed copied. So everything is working all right. So that's basically how you can create this HTML entities converter using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.